Now, this theme of language is something that also comes out in my book, Sing With Me, The Story of Selena Quintanilla. For those of you who know a little bit about her, you might have learned that she didn't grow up speaking Spanish. She spoke only English. And that was something that I wanted to share in my book. And there's a lot written about how she taught herself Spanish, how at first she used to sing phonetically, just sounding out the words without really knowing what they mean. But I couldn't really find out why she didn't speak Spanish in the first place. And so this is when I took a little bit of creative license and I started to think about, you know, when she was alive, when her parents were alive, and I started to see connections between Selena and myself. Because she and I are about the same age, and her parents and my parents are about the same age. And just like Selena, I'm not fluent in Spanish. So when I asked my parents about this, you know, they told me why they deliberately chose not to speak Spanish to me, okay? And I kind of incorporated their answer into my Selena book. So I just want to share with you this page. Here is Selena on her bus, on her travel bus, her sister sleeping below, and you can see that she's studying late into the night, trying to learn Spanish. "Why didn't you teach me Spanish?" Selena asked her parents. They were quiet for a moment. Then her father said, "When we were growing up, we got punished if we spoke Spanish in school. That's why we taught you only English." At the time, it was the language of schooling and success. Selena understood that her parents thought that they were helping her, but she really wanted this connection with her audience. "I'm going to learn Spanish," she decided, "so more people can sing along." And so that's what my parents were always told me. They said that when they were students, they got punished if they spoke Spanish in school, and in a sense, they were kind of shamed out of their language. Luckily, things have changed, and we have bilingual programs, and there's a lot of you know, encouragement to speak multiple languages. I'm just one of those sad people that kind of fell in the time when those types of things were not encouraged. So I want to talk a little bit about the research I did for my Selena book, because I get asked, you know, what did you do to learn more about her? And I want to start by telling people what I did not do. One of the things I did not do is I did not read any biographies of Selena, and I did not watch the Selena film. The Netflix series wasn't out when I was writing the book, but the film with Jennifer Lopez was. I saw it when it first came out, but I didn't want to rewatch it. And that is because when you're writing a biography, even though that's like a factual story, it's always also an interpretation. And I didn't want to read someone else's interpretation of her life. So I did my best to find what are called primary sources. And a lot of what I did was I looked at a lot of magazines. There's quite a few commemorative issues about Selena, from Time, from Newsweek. I read a lot of interviews and watched a lot of interviews of her family. And I also watched a lot of her concerts. Her Astrodome concert I've probably seen, I don't know how many times I've seen that, because I wanted to see her in action. And it was actually through watching her concerts that I came up with the idea of Sing With Me, because it always seemed like Selena was encouraging the audience to sing along. The other thing I did, and I would like to encourage those of you that live in Corpus Christi to do, is I went to the Selena Museum. And so here we are at an art museum, but we also have a Selena Museum. And they have her outfits, they have her awards, they have her drawings of her costumes, her stage costumes, they have her drawings. They have some letters that were written to her family after she passed away. Her car is there, you know, and it's a great way to kind of, you know, feel like you're in touch with her, and just to see like firsthand just how talented she was, not just as a musician, but as a fashion designer and things like that. And so I spent a lot of time in her museum. I took pictures, I took notes. And some of the things got incorporated into my book, and then some of the things didn't. And this kind of brings us really full circle to my first book, Sophia's Saints, because I was writing Sophia's Saints right after Selena passed away. And there's actually a lot of Selena imagery in the book, but it kind of comes out as, you know, one of the things I noticed after she died was a lot of murals coming up about Selena and about Selena. So I wrote a little bit about that. I'm going to read you just a little excerpt. The taggers paint a mural of Selena at the beach. She's mostly buried in sand, but you can see a bit of her hair, her disco clothes and microphone. Seagulls stand about with pieces of her in their beaks, an earring, a guitar string, the strap of her high-heel shoe. One scratches the sand where her fingernail pokes through. Let's sign it, the taggers say, taking black spray paint to draw 4 spades at the bottom corner. Meanwhile, a muralist paints Selena on Pete's wall. He tries to cover La Virgen, but her image seeps through. There's a sequined bra, hip-hugging pants, and platform shoes, standing not on the moon, but on the gold bell of her Grammy Award. But I can still see, in a certain angle of sun, the eyes of baby Jesus in the gramophone at her feet. And so I felt like after Selena died, you know, a lot of her imagery was coming up on walls, and again, kind of like La Virgen, on tattoos, on T-shirts, and things like that. And so that kind of made it into my story. So one of the things that I don't cover in my picture book is Selena's death, because I was writing this book for children, and I just wanted to end on a high note. But I did talk about her death in the author's note in the back. And one of the, you know, sad but beautiful consequences of her death was that it really brought the community together. People all over South Texas were coming together to honor Selena's memory. And so I just want to read you a little bit of the author's note. Thousands attended candlelight vigils in Selena's honor. The Texas Governor, George W. Bush, officially designated April 16th as Selena Day. People magazine published a commemorative issue that sold out within a week. Over the years, I've met many young people inspired by her example. We talk about her talent, her struggles, but mostly about her kindness and humility. Selena never forgot her roots. She ate at local restaurants and lived in a modest neighborhood. She made her own clothes. She continually reminds us that we all have potential, no matter how humble our beginnings. And so that's just a little bit from my author's note.